What's up, everyone? It is your host, Ghost, coming to you live with another wonderful video. How's everyone doing today? I am exhausted. I got home at like 2. So that's why I'm running a little late today. Oh, I forgot this. I think I'm getting sick. My throat's on fire and everything. Um, yeah, so I got home at like 2 this morning, from work. So it's probably why I'm running a little slow. Um, yeah, bloody tired. Um, So yeah, I apologize for being 20 minutes late. I really slow today. I'm exhausted. I'm trying to change that with my coffee. Anyways, make sure everything's good. Okay, cool. All right. So a few things I'm going to talk about. Stephen Crowder did an interview with journalists in Nashville. Probably more than likely related to his releasing of the manifesto from the Nashville trans shooter. Um, um, so we'll watch that. It's like 17 minutes and 30 seconds. So we'll watch that in its fullity unless it gets boring. And then apparently UK is banning smoking or buying cigarettes. Is introducing legislation to ban cigarettes, uh, uh, ban anyone from buying cigarettes that was born after January 2009. So we'll listen just to King Charles talk about it. And then a man's life is ruined by being falsely accused by a woman of rape. And he's telling a story. And this is someone from North Wales. And then the House has decided to censure Rashida Talib over her Israeli remarks. So we'll read an article on that. And we'll watch like someone who did a funny thing about it. Doesn't really pertain to Rashid, but one of her defenders. And then a pro-Palestinian protester killed a Jewish man, and it is getting covered the fuck up, really. So watch that, and then I got a funny movie trailer we're gonna watch. So yeah, that's the plan for the day. Let's go as quickly as possible, and then I'm gonna go upstairs and take a nap because I have some stuff I need to do today. So yeah, let's get to it. Oh, before I get to it, make sure you check out me later today because I will be covering the third GOP debate, which is going to be at night in Miami. That is, it'll be at 8 p.m. EST. So make sure you check me out there because I will be covering it. We'll be watching it live, writing my comments, etc. The candidates who should be there are Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, Chris Christie, and Tim Scott. Those are going to be the debatees. I don't know, the people there. So yeah. All right. Without further ado, let's get into my topic today. So here we go. Here's Crowder.
To ask, how do you describe why your source wanted this released? I understand that, but walk me into how this came into your possession.
Yeah. So it came in. Let me kind of give you, I guess, would you like sort of a verification timeline? I suppose.
That'd be fine too. Whatever you
Okay.
can provide, just so we can understand how you got what
Yeah.
you got.
So this is, we have, when we launched, Mug Club and we partnered with Rumble, we were very forward about the fact that we have an investigative journalism unit and that we'll go to jail to protect our sources, right? If we need to, that we will keep them anonymous. It's encrypted, it's verified. So we get a lot of tips that come through the tip line, the Proton Mail. And this was one that was sent out. And then we went through the process of verifying it. So that involved an anonymous source to kind of, and I have to be careful because I want to make sure that I keep these people anonymous without giving too many details. So if you have questions, you can feel free to kind of, ask me something and I'll tell you if I can't answer that because you're a stranger. But the anonymous source, they reached.
I live in the same world, man. I make my living off anonymous sources, so I totally understand.
Well, and in this case, it's appropriate, right? As opposed to like an anonymous source said that Donald Trump's a pile of crap. It's like, well, we don't really need an anonymous source for TMZ stuff like that. But in this case, obviously, because people's jobs can be at stake, and a lot of these folks don't necessarily trust the people who are in positions of authority, and let alone the media. So this source was kind of vague, right? Came to us through the tip line. Then a Mug Club undercover journalist followed up with an email and a phone call to, let's call this person source number one. They sent us pictures, right, or to the journalists after several phone calls. Okay. Then after that, our journalist, the undercover unit from Mug Club, flew to Nashville to meet with source one, review the phone, the text thread, from which included a source within the Nashville PD. We'll call that source two. A detective involved. The journalist from our end verified that the text thread was from 2 days after the shooting and verified the phone number, authenticated source two as someone who was directly involved with the Nashville PD and was there actually, in fact, on the scene of the crime. So there were multiple verification steps. And I believe that we were not the only person that this source reached out to. They're very happy with how we tried to portray it as accurately as possible. And they were actually, for us, when a source reaches out, and they're apprehensive about us doing due diligence, we often simply don't follow up. This was someone who wanted to ensure that it was authentic and actually welcomed, the process.
Okay, so from what I understand from your explanation is that your journalist that works for your team saw the images on the phone, but not the actual paper itself. So just the images that was sent that day.
Correct.
Okay.
The images the images that were there with a detective involved with this who confirmed it.
Gotcha. So your first source, not talking about the detective that ultimately sent the picture, because that's what's accurate, correct? It was a Metro detective that sent it to your source.
It was confirmed by them, yeah.
Okay, got you. Oh, the detective confirmed it to your person as well.
Yes.
Okay. How do you explain why your source wanted this released?
Well, I would imagine that it's very much in line with why everyone else wanted it released. When we have Christchurch, when we have Jacksonville, when there's a laundry list of manifestos that are out there that portray this one way and are used, obviously, as a springboard, used as a cudgel for gun control. This was one that didn't really follow along with that narrative, and a lot of people thought that it was necessary for this to be out there. And there are people involved with the Nashville PD who also believe that things haven't been necessarily transparent and that it affects people. Look, this is someone who had a motivation, and this is someone with a very clear target. And so this can actually be productive in the sense that this can actually inform people as to, when we're talking about mental health, when we're talking about the struggle, as opposed to just jumping to gun control, we have information here that is relevant, that does provide context.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen your staff is pretty good, I think, about keeping up to date on things, but you may have seen that the mayor's office is now calling for an investigation into your source.
Yes.
I wonder what you think about it.
Well, I'm wondering why the mayor didn't run an investigation into the shooting, because that's what they claimed, right? They claimed that they were, but nothing. They claimed that they have all of these documents, and I have yet to hear anyone from the police department. I know a spokesperson for the police chief said, we don't know anything about that. Well, hold on. Are you running an investigation? In which case this would interfere, which would mean that you would be immediately familiar with what we release. And we have staked our reputation on the line. We are willing to. I stand by it. My sources stand by it. For them to say they don't know, what is it that they don't know? No one has even attempted to refute it. I've seen by the way, I've also seen a lot of other people out there claim that they have confirmed its authenticity through their own sources. And I know that that's false, right? That's sort of a tag my name on there as well, where they want to act as though they have sources out there doing the groundwork. I know that there would be no way for them to confirm it.
Yeah, that is, there is a small number of people that have actually seen the documentation itself. I never want to misquote, so I'm looking for the email that was actually sent out from the mayor's office, because that's what it's important that I get your response
Sure.
to exactly what he's saying, is that he's dictated the Metro's law director to initiate an investigation into how these images could have been released. That investigation may involve local, state, and federal authorities. I am deeply concerned with the safety, security, and well-being of the Covenant families and all Nashvillians who are grieving. What's your response to his?
So this is interesting. He's talking about his sources, how he got it, and everything. So it's very interesting. And then the mayor's, I'm deeply concerned with the covenant families, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. I mean, if here's the thing, he says he's all concerned about the covenant families, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right, cool. No, I understand that, get it. But like, what about like, is this, are you refuting it? He's saying these aren't real, and if you're not saying it's not real, then obviously that means it's real. Which means it's this is a kind of important thing to do. And if they had released it prior to when it was happening, like whenever this shit happened, like almost a year ago now. If they had released it then, like, hey, this is the manifesto we've seen, because Crowder's right. I haven't seen anyone refute it, saying this is just lies, without any any actual backing it up. Like, here's why it's lies, and everything like that. So I haven't seen any of that. So there's no one refuting that these are authentic. And actually, the actions of the part of the the police department, not in the mayor's office, would say that it is authentic because of their strong reaction on it. But him talking about his concern for the Covenant families. Well, why didn't he just release this nearly a year ago, and they wouldn't have to go through this all again? That would be my main concern, because apparently the source is a police officer that gave these to Crowder. That's the source. So that would mean that the police were aware of this and that it should have been released already.
His concern.
I'm deeply concerned with their safety as well, because 6 people are dead, 3 of them children. And we now know the motivation, or at least we have an idea as to the motivation. When their police chief went out and said, oh, maybe at some point we'll run an investigation, it's right there. How do we know what the motivation is? Because they said the motivation. How do we know who the targets were, if they were pre-selected? The shooter claims that the targets were pre-selected. It's very clear. I shouldn't say very clear. This is someone who's obviously mentally deranged, of course, as well. Just to be clear, this is someone who was not mentally healthy. So when we also have this discussion about mental health in this country, well, then we need to examine why this person was mentally unwell, why this person talks about their anxiety, what it was that made this person tick, how this person wasn't able to, if they were seeing people for help. And like you just said, the mayor is now investigating the leaks. That's why it was leaked to us. The source said because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do.
So,
and we called, by the way, this exact backlash on the program. We said, this is how we expect the media to cover it. There will be some attack the messenger. There will be some people, the clickbait farms out there. And I know that you're an actual journalist, so it must aggravate you as much as anyone else. It's like Ben Affleck with Good Will Hunting. Toss my name on there as well. We did the legwork. Yeah. And that's because these people feel as though, well, not feel. Their voice is not heard. The truth has not been covered. And it was a necessity to them.
I'm glad that you brought this up, because as journalists, we want the entire manifesto released. We want that so we can examine it for context. We can use experts to evaluate this. You have only released 3 pages, and I'm wondering if you think that's irresponsible.
Why would that be irresponsible?
Because there isn't a context to it.
What I think is irresponsible is, how long has it been since this shooting?
I mean, do you really need any context for let's kill the crackers? Do you really need any context for the schedule on what she planned to do, and how she planned to do it? Is context really needed? I don't think there's any context in the world that would really change anything. On all honesty, sorry. Like I'm just really trying to think of any context that would be any significance. What that she was like. Because here's the thing: these weren't people that were her own age or anything like that. She didn't go strictly after teachers and only teachers and left the students alone. She killed students and teachers. So it wasn't like, there's could be context. Well, these students made fun of me because I identify as a guy and I'm a girl, or I identify as a guy and they call me a girl. They're kids. You're really going to take out your anger on kids? And I don't think there's any evidence. I don't think the trans shooter went to school. Uh-huh. Yeah. So I don't think this shooter, I don't think she went to Covenant, this Covenant school. So there's no reason really for her to go there in the first place to exact her revenge. So I'm not sure what context would be required. And don't get me wrong, I always think context is key. I'm just not sure what context would really be required, for anything in this matter.
Roughly at what, 8 to 9 months?
Yeah, somewhere between, I think it's late 7, call it 8 months. Okay. Who's been involved in this investigation? I mean, not only the PD, right, but you have the FBI involved. These people saying that this information should not get out there. They want this suppressed. But they haven't been able to name any other people of interest with their investigation. And the American public has seen nothing. We know more about the Christchurch shooting, which, by the way, if you look at that manifesto, it was trolling. I don't know if you know this. Not a lot of white supremacists are actually watching Candace Owens or Ben Shapiro. A lot of it was clearly meant to be, if not, I shouldn't even say satire. It was just meant to be dishonest, and that was covered. In this case, this is authentic. This is someone who was deranged. This is someone who was steeped their entire life, it seems, in the modern progressive ideology. You don't use the term white privilege. Unironically, before you commit a mass shooting, crackers, if you look at the language that's being used, of course, they were misspelled, which also is a terrible indictment of our public education system. We released what it is that we have. I sincerely don't believe for a second, and I don't think that you do, that any of this would have ever been released if not for what took place today. I hope if they have more and there's more context, great. Our job here is done. I hope that there's more transparency, that there is more truth. If there's 20 pages that would show that this clearly was someone who was another right-wing extremist, a white supremacist, if that would be the case, hey, I will gladly go out and condemn it wholeheartedly, as I condemn any shooting, because it's not very hard for me to condemn white supremacy. And this is something that we've talked about. White supremacists are assholes. I'm assuming that you can obviously censor this. I have no problem saying, can't stand white supremacists. These people are morons. They're basically just socialists who believe that socialism would work if you did it with people who have less melanin in their skin. I associate with them zero. It's a lot harder for the mayor. It's a lot harder for the leftist media, for those people who would be involved in the legacy media. It's a lot harder for public educators to say, absolutely, I have nothing in common with gender ideology and, for example, the idea of checking white privilege. But they can't. They can't separate themselves from that because that's something that they've regurgitated ad hominem. They did it when the shooting took place, making sure, tripping over themselves to ensure the proper use of pronouns. I don't believe for a second that the media was ever going to actually do some digging and try to get to the truth of this. They had 8 months.
So, I'm not going to stand on my pulpit and argue about what we, have been able to do and haven't been able to, but I have made it clear that, as journalists, we have wanted this and we have asked for it and we've gone to court to try and get it. But we have our own, reasons for wanting to inform the public in our way. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but obviously.
And what would those reasons be?
For my reasons would be for full transparency, for a greater understanding, and with given with context about who this person was and why this person did it. But I will also say that we have heard repeatedly that this was a person that was so mentally ill that there may not be any understanding of why she did what she did because she was so mentally ill.
Mhm.
But I don't have the entire conflict. I don't have the entire all of her writing.
I noticed
to
you
be
say
able to say
she.
that.
Why do you say she?
Well, I will say she because
is
I have
Crowder.
interviewed her attorney for the family, and the family refers to her as she. And although she identified as transgender, she's not here to basically describe for herself what she preferred to be. So at this point, I am going with what the family and how they.
Also, because she's a she. Let's just keep it a stack. The reason we're referring to her as a she is because she's a she.
Described her. But we're also.
But why?
Trying
Let
to
me ask
make
you this:
that very
why are we taking the
clear.
family's word for it, right? Because this person was, I believe, 28 years old, right? Aiden is how they last referred to themselves, right? They were becoming a male, and when they committed the shooting, they identified as a male. This family
That's right.
has not seen the man, handed it over to the authorities.
Has not seen.
Yeah.
According to the family, they have not seen the manifesto.
So when
And I
the
would say-
shooting happened, right, it was a game of walking backwards with landmines, where people were being condemned for using the wrong pronouns. Now, I'm not pulling a gotcha with you. I'm saying that happened with everyone out there when they were covering this. And now people are saying, well, the authority would be the family or the lawyer. The family couldn't know. Why is the family an authoritative source? They handed it over to the police department, who, by the way, have refused to give anything to the public. This is one of those issues, right, where you go, okay, if you want to get to the truth and you are stonewalled by those in positions of power, all we're left with is a couple of days of the shooting, people being attacked for using the wrong pronouns, and then moving on because it's not a convenient tool to use for gun control.
Yeah, I think that, all we can do as journalists is lay it out as the truth, as in terms of what her gender was when she was born and what she preferred to use as she became an adult. And I think that's how we kind of, frame it, at least for our purposes, at least reporting it hopefully is that. I do want to ask you, obviously you identify as a conservative.
Sure.
And you will have your critics that will say, okay, you've got an agenda in all this. So what's your end game?
Yeah, I'm not unbiased, just to be clear. I'm not at all. And I don't pretend to be. What we do is largely entertainment. It was a late night show that we realized people were watching more in the morning, so we moved it to morning. It's late night in the morning. We do have an investigative journalism unit because it's largely dead. And most people out there aren't doing it. This is proof positive that's not being done. And it's unfortunate because, for example, if we were to go back, Watergate, I just say that because it's ubiquitous, right? Everything's become a gate now. Zippergate, Watergate, Cigargate, anything. They toss a gate and they're like, that's a great headline. You couldn't do that today. You couldn't do that today. Why not? Because we have these laws in the country to protect investigative journalists, also to protect free speech, that involve, for example, being single-party consent states, which mean that this is remedial, but for people out there who may not, if you're a journalist and you're trying to catch someone in the act of something corrupt, let's say like Watergate, you can record it. You have that right. The problem is most of the information out there today, and this is something that journalists run up against, Facebook, right, Meta, YouTube, Alphabet, a handful of companies control the flow of all information. And they don't even follow the laws. They enjoy the protection of Section 230. They're treated as though they are open platforms. But you can record something entirely legally, and YouTube says, oh, that person doesn't want to be out there, so then they remove it. How are you ever supposed to expose corruption? We've sat down and done interviews. We've done Change My Minds where people sit down, sign a release, and on camera spell their name, say, I consent to this interview. Later on, didn't like how they were portrayed, and we had to either blur their face or remove the video entirely. That's what's worrisome to me. And I wonder if that's why no one did the digging that needed to be done for this story. If it's because going up against these big tech giants, it's really a tripopoly, is just something that seems like an insurmountable task. But we shouldn't have gotten to this first. It's bittersweet to me. We have an investigative journalism unit because people out there aren't doing it. Because largely, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I will say, as one of the reporters that wants to see all of the writing, my goal has always been to see all of the writings, so I could put that into context. What
Sure.
you have gotten is a couple pages.
Okay.
And so I do think there is a bit of criticism here that what you put out is just a sliver of the story and doesn't give the whole story. And that's what's dangerous.
So did you ever have access to any pages? Any pages? I'm saying I know you want all of them, but
can't review what I have seen as well. But I will tell you that I don't have all the writings. I do not have that.
do you have any writings?
Again, I
No, he doesn't.
sources too. But I will tell you this.
I'm not asking you. I'm not asking you to reveal sources. I'm asking you, do you have any writings? In other words, of all the right, this is NBC in Nashville, NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, CNBC, Fox News, not to mention all the online networks. No one has anything. And the criticism is you released some pages when no one's really been doing their due diligence or really putting in the legwork to get any pages. I would love for all of it to be released. We have been on our program calling for it all to be released. No one's done it, and it was never going to happen. We released what we had, and I hope that everything is released.
Well, we do agree on that too, and I just really appreciate, Stephen, you doing this for me and doing it for everybody else in telling this part of the story, because it is an important part of the story. Now, I've unfortunately got to go do my part, and so I just appreciate you doing this.
I really appreciate you taking the time, and I really do hope that someone gets everything. I really do hope that happens, because I would love the dialogue to be based on transparency, but you're not getting it from the FBI or local police department. They're more interested in obfuscating. And that is something that, look, I don't know where you line up politically. I'm very open, transparent about my worldview, especially coming from being a comedian. It doesn't pay to lie about that. I would hope that everyone from all walks, who not even as journalists themselves, believes in the importance of journalism, sees this as something that needs to change, sees this lack of transparency and a few colluding forces refusing to provide information that could potentially save lives and chart a course for the future, that everyone agrees and says, all right, at a certain point, there can't just be a couple of people at the top of this funnel who control all of this information. I hope that someone gets everything, and I hope that if you and I were to talk this time next week, it would be a conversation based on the entire manifesto that has been provided to a wanting public from either the FBI or the police department.
We'll do it. When it comes out, you and I will have another conversation, because I think that'll be important to hear your voice on this. So thank you,
I appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
So there we go. That was an interesting interview. It was interesting. The guy, cared. It seemed he cared more about the whole manifesto being provided a little too much, in my opinion. But I think all in all, it was a good interview. Yeah. I'm sorry. My comments today are going to be really shit because I'm like exhausted, kind of phoning it in, feels like. But that was interesting. Again, shout out to Crowder for just posting this. And then, look, I was a pretty big fan of Crowder for a while. And then the whole Dave Landau situation happened. And it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. And so I stopped watching him ever since then. But I still think, hey, shout out to him. He does good work. And this is good work. Again, look, I understand the journalist's like opinion, like, oh, I want the whole context and everything. Like I do too. But no one, like Crowder made a good point. Did anyone have anything? So until he released those few things, no one else had released anything. So, I mean, I think that's a little more important than anything else. And maybe this will be the motivation that'll cause the police department over in Nashville to open and share everything. Who knows? All right. Let's get into the UK. This will be very short because it's just a clip. So here's King Charles, and apparently he's going to talk about the reform bill or whatever. Here we go.
My government will introduce legislation to create a smoke-free generation by restricting the sale of tobacco so that children currently aged 14 or younger can never be sold cigarettes. My government will...
So there you go. Yeah. So apparently he's and look, I think smoking and everything, kids shouldn't be smoking or anything like that at all. I totally agree with that, but you shouldn't be, and smoking's fairly bad for the most part. I smoke cigars occasionally. So, I'm not like, doing any holy thou type shit here. But I think everyone should have the right to do whatever they want with their own their own body. If they want to put, smokes in, or if they want to smoke a cigarette, they should do it. If they want to, drink alcohol, they should do it. As long as their habit doesn't end up harming others, then I don't care too less. And it's stupid. The UK is just dumb. I want to make a smoke-free generation. Okay, dude. No, you just want to put some more tyranny going on. That's why the UK sucks. Because look, it starts with cigarettes. Then it goes to, well, you can't drive your car you can't drive fast cars. We're going to have a no fast car generation. And then after that, you know what? We're not going to allow women to, have sex wherever they want. It just peters down for that. I've went to some extremes. Don't get me wrong. I went to some extremes there, but it's just peters down, and eventually it's gonna hit something where it's like, look, this is more freedom limiting than actual any benefits. All right, here's this. So going back to the UK, North Wales, a man accused says his life was ruined after a woman falsely accused him of rape. Of course your life was ruined, dude. Of course it was. Someone even sprayed rapists on the side of his house. A man says his life was ruined after a woman he met on a night out falsely accused him of rape. Jordan Trengrove was 18 when he was a victim of a malicious lie by Eli Williams. He was shunned and attacked by those in their community. As a result, he was remanded in custody after she claimed to the police he raped her at a flat. The teen was sent to prison to await trial before charges were dropped when Williams' web of lies were exposed. Jordan from Cumbria said he only met Williams on a night out with friends at a club. I knew of her because she worked there, but that was it, Jordan told Landcast Live. Now, before I get into this, so the charges were dropped after Williams' lies were exposed. And I haven't read this, but I am willing to bet that she did not have any consequence happen to her. She probably still has her job. She's probably still friends with people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. She has not faced any consequences for her actions. Let's see if I'm right. I knew of her because we said she could come with us because we are nice people. But later she disappeared and someone said she was being sick on the stairs, so we carried on with our night out. Jordan took a cab back to a pal's house at the end of the night, but a few days later, he was arrested on suspicion of rape after Williams claimed he attacked her at her flat on Steamer Street. The teen was held in the police station and questioned about Williams' accusations. He was released on bail, but then a few days later, he was arrested again, accused of attacking Williams. Police then arrested Jordan for a third time after Williams claimed he had spiked her and raped her. Speaking about his time in prison, he said it was horrible. You don't want to be in prison if you have done something, but to be there when you've done nothing wrong is awful. I didn't really leave my cell. After a bail application was successful, he finally left, but had to stay 50 miles from home. A week later, he was acquitted of all wrongdoing when the charges were dropped. It was a relief, he said, adding, but I still question why I'd been accused at all. My case had been reported in the paper and mud stuck. When I returned to Barrow, I had my window smashed and someone sprayed rapist on my house. Williams was charged with 8 counts of perverting the course of justice. Oh, she actually was charged. Oh, shit. I'm surprised. In connection with her false claims against Jordan and a number of other men. It was shocking, said Jordan. I knew it must be more lies. I knew the extent she had gone to lie about me and tried to warn people, but she had them all fooled. He added, I would go on days out to Manchester and was relieved to be where no one recognized me, but I still felt unsafe. I felt like everyone was talking about me and calling me a rapist. There was no escape. Police came to see me not long after she was remanded in custody. I felt a little bit of relief, but the campaign was still carrying on. It has affected me in so many ways. I'm surprised anything happened. When my son was born in August 2021, I struggled to bond with him because I didn't want him to grow up hearing that his dad being called a rapist. My relationship was affected, and I pushed my partner away so many times. I mean, your wife, dude, unless you're gay now. I really hate this term, my partner. It's a dumb term, okay? We're not in business together. We're not, attorneys together. Is my partner crap. It's so dumb. It's this woke bullshit. Oh, it's gender neutral shit, whatever it's supposed to be. No, my wife is my wife. She's not my partner. We don't have a partnership. We have a benevolent dictatorship, and sometimes I don't feel benevolent, meaning I don't let her get her way. That's what it is. Like, but also, my wife's my wife. She's not my partner. She's my wife. Okay, I'm not her partner. I'm her husband. I hate whenever I hear my partner crap. It annoys the ever living shit out of me. I remember one time we were at the doctor's and I got called a partner and I almost lost it. I was like, I'm not her partner. I'm her husband. Okay, don't give me this crap. I have complex PTSD because of what happened to me and struggled to trust anyone. I had to go to court to give evidence, which is nerve-wracking. Last time I had been in court, I've been accused of something I had done. Before that, I never even set foot in a courtroom. But everyone had listened to Eli's story, and now it's time for them to hear mine. Some of the evidence that came out was really shocking. I went along to hear the closing speeches and defense were saying about me. I had Eli sitting behind me and her mother sitting in front. I couldn't breathe. I had to walk out of court. Then the jury went out. We waited. I looked over at them, smiled, nodded, and said, "Thank you," Jordan said. It must have been hard for them to sit and listen to all that. I hate Eli Williams for what she had done. Barrow will forever be known as the place where she lied. It used to be known for shipbuilding, but that title has been tarnished. So many people have been affected by this. Community came together for her. I think it's time they came together again. Now, for me, I just have to keep fighting forward and keep my head high. I want to get on with my top of my mental health, rebuild things with my missus, my little boy. I said to her, when all this is over, we'll have a proper day out, get some food, and just have a nice time. We've never been able to go on a proper date with everything that's happened. Okay, you haven't been able to go on a proper date, but you've been able to fucking... you haven't been able to go on a proper date, but you've been able to procreate with her? All right, hold on. Curiosity. Okay, she was jailed for 8.5 years over false rape accusations. Huh, shocking. I'm assuming this is her. Yeah, Eleanor Williams. What a fucking bitch. I fucking hate this false accusation shit. It's such bullshit. So there you go. Hey, someone actually, a woman actually got in trouble for lying. I'm shocked, really. I'm really shocked. That's the first thing. I'm really shocked like anything happened to her at all. But hey, that's a good thing. Maybe we can keep this trend going because the mattress girl, I don't believe she's had anything bad done to her. Like meaning like she hasn't faced any jail time for lying, all the way to the point she got to meet the first lady at the time. Duke lacrosse accusers. I mean, there's so many accusers. Amber Heard hasn't really. Well, she hasn't really faced any real consequences. She read a plea agreement or a settlement with her ex-husband, where she didn't end up having to pay him anything. And when it turns out that, and I mean, again, I know that it's just about the truth for Johnny, so no big deal. And then the chick that accused the baseball player, I don't believe she's gotten anything. She hasn't gotten anything. She reached a settlement where she didn't have to pay anything, and this dude's like, "Well, I got whatever." Anyways, so women don't really get any consequences for doing this shit and lying about it. But it's nice to see that Eleanor Williams got it. For once, the UK did something right. Good job, UK. Shout out to you. Shout out to you, UK, for doing something right. All right, let's get on with this. Phoning it in. Tired. All right. Rashida Talib, House Censored Representative Rashida Talib over Israel remarks. Talib, the only Palestinian American in Congress, has faced increased scrutiny for comments after the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel. It's kind of funny because she apparently, like, during the whole speech they gave before they decided to censor her or whatever, her and Elon Omar and Cory Busher, they all got emotional over it. It was really funny to see. She cried. Rashida Talib cried. All right. House lawmakers on Tuesday censored Representative Rashida Talib, the sole Palestinian American in Congress, over her remarks and actions in response to Israeli-Hamas war. The censure resolution, authored by Representative Rich McCormick, Republican Georgia, passed 234 to 188. Man. With 22 Democrats voting for it and 4 Republicans opposing the measure. A censure vote only requires a simple majority to pass. I think it's a lot more than a simple majority. Just saying. The resolution censured Talib, Democrat of Michigan, for promoting false narratives regarding the October 7th, 2023 Hamas attack on Israel and for calling for the destruction of the state of Israel. It's a sad fact, but this type of anti-Semitic hate is being promoted by a small group of members in this body, chiefly Representative Talib. Cormack said on the House floor before the vote, "We must hold her accountable." The vote comes 1 month after the deadly Hamas terrorist attack on Israel amid the devastating Israeli bombardment of the densely populated Gaza Strip. Republicans have seized on Talib's words and actions, criticized Israel, joined several Democrats in condemning a video she posted on media showing protesters chanting "from the river to the sea," a phrase that has been used by Hamas and that Jewish groups considered an anti-Semitic call for the elimination of Israel. The video also says that President Joe Biden supported the genocide of the Palestinian people, and Talib herself warned Biden, "We will remember in 2024. Talib's position has divided Democrats who are wrestling with how to respond to the new conflict in the Middle East. They have to condemn the horrific Hamas terrorist attack, which Israel said killed 1,400 people. But many Democrats also have been critical of Israel's military campaign in Gaza, which has killed more than 10,000 Palestinians. According to the health officials there, a growing number of Democrats have called for a humanitarian pause to provide aid to innocent civilians in Gaza, while a small group, including Talib, have pushed for a ceasefire. Ahead of Tuesday night's vote, Democratic Caucus Chairman Pete Algier of California said leadership had encouraged rank and file Democrats to vote to table the censure resolution against Talib. The House rejected the motion in a 208 to 213 vote, but Aguilar, that's how you pronounce it, also was quick to condemn Talib's video. "I extremely disagree with the statement, the video," he said. "I could not disagree anymore with the term. I think it's offensive." In a lengthy statement before the vote, Talib defended her comments and actions, arguing she is the lone Palestinian voice in Congress and protected by free speech. "It's a shame my colleagues are more focused on silencing me when they are on saving lives, as the death toll in Gaza expressed 10,000. Many of them have shown me that Palestinian lives simply do not matter to them. But I still do not police their rhetoric or actions," she said. Rather than acknowledge the voice and perspective of the only Palestinian American in Congress, my colleagues have resorted to disorienting my positions in resolution filled with obvious lies, Talib continued. "I have reportedly denounced the horrific targeting and killing of civilians by Hamas and the Israeli government, and have mourned the Israeli and Palestinian lives lost." I don't know about that. I haven't seen her at all mourning the civilian lives of Israelis. I'm not saying she hasn't done it. I'm just saying I haven't seen it. The vote also comes the same day that McCormick said he was temporarily closing his district office in Cumming due to serious threats of violence against my staff. Hold on. I find it funny that she claims to be the only Palestinian American in Congress, and that's true. But she was born in Detroit, man. Like, it's not like she's a Palestinian who moved here, experienced the horrors in Palestine or Gaza or whatever you want to call it, and then goes on and actually has any idea what's going on over there. She was born in America, and honestly, it's only whatever. It's just funny. I mean, these people claim this stuff, and they're not really from there. You're an American. You're not Palestinian. You're American. You're not Palestinian American, African American, Asian American. You're American. Simple as that. These threats have been reported to Capitol Police and will be investigated fully. Capitol Police did not immediately respond to a request for comment Tuesday night, while a spokesperson for McCormick's office said it was unable to share any of the details about the threat of its circumstances in this time. Last week, the House voted to punt another resolution to censure Talib, authored by GOP Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, over the concerns from Democrats and Republicans alike that the language was too incendiary. She later revised the resolution. Okay, finally. Republican Derek Van Ord, Republican Wisconsin, who recently traveled to Israel on a fact-finding mission after the October 7th attack, told reporters he supported both censure resolutions. We cannot have sitting members of Congress calling for genocide, and from the river to the sea is a call for genocide, for the eradication of Jewish people. We just can't do that, Van Orden said. Free speech is one thing, but calling actively for genocide of a people when you're a sitting member of this house cannot stand. No way. Censure is a punitive measure that's less severe than expulsion. A censure lawmaker is required to stand in the wall of chamber while the House Speaker reads the censure resolution aloud. Representative Adam Schiff, Democrat, California, was censured this year for misleading the American public and for conduct unbecoming of an elected member of the House of Representatives. Representative Paul Gosar, Republican of Arizona, was censored in 2021 for having posted a manipulated video on his social media account depicting himself killing Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and attacking President Joe Biden. All right, there we go. All right, now we got just really quick. So this is apparently like an edited cut together of Cory Bush's speech, and it was funny. This is a quick little thing.
Black people, the insurrection, racism.
So there you go. That's all it is. Apparently she did that shit a lot, and then said black people and races. Like, it's obviously a very edited together video and everything like that. So don't get me wrong. It's not really, but it's still funny. So I don't know. Apparently that whole to the river, to the sea is a call to genocide. Like, I don't know. What's Rashida Tlaib nodding her head, saying, "Yeah, to the river, to the sea, blah blah blah," in like whatever video she posted, or did she just post the video? And again, I don't know. Like, I know she's obviously mourned the lives of Palestinians. I don't know if she's mourned the lives of Israelis. And so I don't know if she's being honest there. I haven't seen anything of her, actually mourning those lives, and she very well may have. She very well may have. I just haven't seen it. again, I don't know if if she was actually like agreeing with the to the river to the sea and all that stuff, and I guess it's viewed as a call for genocide. Then all right, the censure is I guess good. But if she just posted a video, didn't really give any knowledge, but was just posting it, and let's see, maybe I can. Can't really find what exactly she said. Um, let's see. I can't really find what exactly she said, so I really can't judge. But she's been censored, uh, and apparently it was bad. I don't know. According to the Democrats, it was bad enough that a lot of their 22 people went over to the Republican side and agreed with it. So I really can't tell you. I don't know. So, but hey, I can't find what she actually said, like all of it and everything. So, but here we go. All right, so we're gonna move on. There's been a lot of talks about this, but a pro-Palestinian protester killed a Jewish man, and apparently this is what the sheriff had to say.
We're working tirelessly to gather all the facts and evidence related to this incident, and we will do everything in our power, using every resource we have at our disposal to make sense of this incident. And if criminal wrongdoing is discovered, to bring the person or persons responsible to justice. We're working tirelessly to gather all the facts and evidence related.
Okay, so there's that. And then here's this. New York Times reported on it. And this guy, Dr. Eli David, said, "Hey, New York Times fixed it for you." It says Jewish man dies after altercation at dual protest in California. He said was killed by pro-Palestinian protester in California. It's funny. Hold on. Wait, I didn't really hear what he said, what that guy said. So let me go back. Just hear that. Okay. So it really said a bunch of nothing. All right. So there a video of the actual incident itself? So apparently, what happened was there was a dual rally or dual protest. One obviously pro-Palestinian, one was pro-Israel. And the reports are that the pro-Palestinian protester hit the elderly Jewish man over the head with a megaphone, and it caused him to fall and hit his head. So that's what happened. I don't see if there's any video of them actually showing the whole incident. I remember seeing it a couple times, but I don't see any. But yeah, anyways, and the mainstream media is reporting it as, guy falls and dies at a protest. It's what they basically were saying. They didn't mention that it was that pro-Palestinian guy who hit him in the head with a megaphone and caused him to fall and die, or fall and hit his head. And he didn't die at the scene, but he died soon afterwards. So there we go. So, but it's just showing how much of a cope the mainstream media is doing. All right, last but simply not least, this isn't anything newsworthy, but it's a funny goddamn thing to me. So this is a trailer for a new movie coming out in December. So let's just watch it. It's funny as fuck to me. I love it.
What really struck me was that too few books were about my people. Where are our stories? Where's our representation?
Would you give us the pleasure of reading an excerpt?
So, it sounds beautiful, right? Where's books about my people? All right, my people. What about black people? All right, here we go.
Yo, Sharonda.
It immediately goes to ghetto.
Oh, you be pregnant again? If I is, Ray Ray is gonna be a real father this time around.
One woman stands up.
Monk, your books are good, but they're not popular. Editors, they want a black book.
They have a black book. I'm black, and it's my book.
You know what I mean.
Look at what they publish. Look at what they expect us to write. I just want to rub their noses in it.
I be standing outside in the night.
Deadbeat dads, rappers, crack. You said you wanted black stuff. That's black, right?
I see what you're doing. We sold your book.
No.
We believe Mr. Lee has written a bestseller.
It's a joke. The most lucrative joke you've ever told.
Now, is Stag a pseudonym?
Yeah.
Mr. Lee can't use his real name.
Is this based on your actual life?
Yeah, you think some bitch-ass college boy can come up with that shit?
No, I don't.
Can I ask what you were in for? Was it murder?
You said that, not me.
They ran 300,000 copies. Your books change people's lives.
They're offering $4 million for the movie rights.
Yes! The dumber I behave, the richer I get. This has gone too far.
Stag Arley is still on the run from authorities.
You haven't done anything. It's not like they can arrest you.
Wish I could go back to not selling books.
Is it bad to cater to people's tastes?
People want to love you, Monk. You should let them love all of you.
There's already so much buzz because of the movie deal.
Michael B. Jordan is circulating.
We want to put him on the cover in one of those scarves, I guess you would call them, tied around his head.
A do-rag?
Do-rag, that's it. Do-rag and a tank top with the muscles showing.
With the muscles showing.
We're thinking we can get it out in hydrogen team.
This is just funny to me. It's a clear jab at it's a clear jab at a society today. I love every minute of it. It looks funny as hell. This dude, he's college educated. I'm thinking, and he's a good guy. He's proper. He's not like, yo, what up? Blah, blah, blah. He's not that ghetto person. He's not that ghetto person or anything like that. But his books aren't selling, so he starts making up. I guess he makes up some shit, and acts like he's something he's not, and he sells like a shit ton of books. And it's just funny because I could easily see that happening right now. Like you get a proper, college educated black person, like Dr. Ben Carson. He's a black man. He's a very accomplished surgeon, I believe. Right? Dr. Ben Carson's a surgeon. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's a retired neurosurgeon. So he's very accomplished and everything like that. He gets shit on because he's black and he's Republican and everything like that. But then, the Black Lives Matter goes and protests when, someone like a Jacob Blake, who, was going to a woman who had a restraining order against him and was going and presenting a complete threat to police and everything like that, and gets shot and paralyzed. They go and protest his shooting and try to celebrate his life. They gave George Floyd a statue, even though he's not a good guy, anything like that. So it's just funny to me. The whole movie just seems like a giant laugh, and it's just kind of throwing it in, American society's faces. Like, look, you guys think all black people are the same, and the only reason you're gonna buy their books if they act like what you're expecting. It's just funny. The movie just looks funny to me. Oh, speaking of, got one more thing I want to talk about. But anyway, that movie just looks really funny. I actually might go watch it. It might be the first movie I go watch in a while. Yeah, you think some white boy, some college educated people could write that shit? What were you in? You were in for murder? You said it, not me. He's acting like something he's not. Sell books, and he's fucking liberal. These liberals are eating it up and think it's the greatest thing ever. Oh my God, you've went through so much, and you're so diversity and all. Oh man. All right. Speaking of something that'd be good. Yes, if you've watched the season or watched the series, then it just came out yesterday. Yeah, yesterday the new trailer came out. It's for Reacher season 2. First Reacher was based on the first book. What's it for? Die Trying, and it looks like this one's going to be based on Bad Luck and Trouble, which is a good book. All of Lee Child's Reacher books are great. This is a good book, and I see why they picked this one, because this is a far more action-packed one than maybe the ones before it.
You've been carjacked, right? Don't turn around. This won't take long.
Wait, who are you?
Someone who prefers not getting involved.
You
Prefers not getting involved, but got involved.
refer to these special investigators as your team, your soldiers, even your friends.
You do not mess with the special investigators!
And now they're all in trouble.
They were tortured. They dumped them from a helicopter, and they're coming after us. Good.
Damn, Reacher. When we were kids, we just wrote our names in it.
Why'd you gotta hit him so hard? I don't hit soft.
What are our directives?
We prepare. We investigate. We put bad guys in jail. What does he think he's gonna do? You on the sidelines while I do all the work. He's a boss, and bosses give orders. But they took a run at us in broad daylight. They're getting desperate.
Guy's got good instincts. Guy's got good everything.
Surveillance photos don't do you justice.
Looks like you had a rough night.
Had worse. Need a new jacket.
What's wrong with the one you just bought?
It has blood on it.
So there you go. I like the Reacher series. The first one was great. I think they were fairly faithful to the book series. Obviously, they added a modern twist, which I don't love, but I don't mind. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing it. Like, I don't think a book or a TV show on a book that is set in our different time. I think it was set in like the 80s or something like that. I don't think you have to go back and make it modern. I think it's perfectly fine with just being as is. But it is still a good book. I wasn't a huge fan of how they did Conklin. What was her name? Conklin, I think, the female character. She was a little bit too much of strong independent woman shit. That was kind of annoying. But otherwise, I thought they did very well. So I look very forward to Bad Luck and Trouble, or Reacher season 2. For those who don't know, Bad Luck and Trouble. So Reacher was part of the special investigative unit. The what is it? 104. He used to be an MB, obviously, back in the day. Oh, FYI, this is gonna be a spoiler. Because I'm going off of the book, obviously not the series. So I'm going off the book. So if you haven't read the books and you don't want to get spoiled, or you want to watch the show and not get spoiled, even though it's not going to be 100% accurate, then you probably should stop watching. Because that's all I'm going to talk about. So, anyways, 3, 2, 1, all done. There we go. So yeah, Reacher was once the commander of the 110th MP Special Investigations Unit. So they had a tight knit team, and then eventually Reacher was separated from the military, and everything like that. So that happened eventually. Sorry. And so they all went their separate ways, and then three of them. One is California, 2 are in Nevada. They're investigating a company. Was it 4 of them? No, it was 4 of them. 4 of them are investigating a company. And they end up dying one by one. One of them, or they all get thrown out of a helicopter. They get found by police, and Nagley, the black lady in the TV show, she's black in the books and in the TV show, which I love. I thought that was great. It was a good job, making sure everything's accurate, or so far. Anyways, Nagley, and we saw her in the season 1, which she wasn't in, but I mean, hey, what can you do? Or was she in it? She may have been in the book itself. Yeah, no, she was in the book, but she wasn't in as extensively as before, if I remember correctly. Anyways, so one of their guys gets thrown out of a helicopter. They find out he has a wife. The wife contacted Nagley to let her know, and Nagley gets everyone that's available to her. Well, she calls the rest of the special 10 or the 110th, the old 110th, to come help her. Reacher ends up being the first one to show up, and then there's 2 others that show up, and then the 4 that are dead, they don't show up or answer, and they later find out that they're dead. Anyways, it's this huge mass conspiracy with military weapons and whatnot. It's a big old action pack. They find out who kills their friends, and they go and kill them, basically. So that's what the basics of the story is. It's a really good one for them to do season 2 on. I really hope, even though they've already done the movie on it, I really would like to see this Alan Hutchinson. That's his name, I believe. I would love to see him do the one shot. It's the one shot book. I think he'd be good on it too. And for one shot, because Jack Reacher's had 2 movies on it. One shot is the first one, and again, so that would be a good one to do. I'd like them to do it, even though they've already done a movie on it. But I mean, and don't get me wrong, Tom Cruise did a good job on it, but Alan Hutchins really encompasses Reacher, because Reacher's a huge motherfucking guy. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you like and subscribe or follow me. Follow me at rumble.com/withghost and rumble.com/gamingwithghost for all my awesome channels. Follow me on X at officialwghost. So find out when I go live. Make sure you check me out later at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. I believe it is Pacific Time. So make sure you check me out there as I cover the 3rd GOP debate. I hope you all have a good day. Peace out. See you later.